Today we thought we'll talk to you about why we think you should click that link and why you should watch it.
Yeah.
I'll just start by introducing ourselves once again. You've probably forgotten our faces, and it's me, Harriet, all the way from the UK, specifically Liverpool. Obia, do you want to?
Yeah, hi, it's Obia, and I'm live from London, mom of two, and digital business owner.
And I'm Eunice, a mom of two as well, coming live from Norway.
Hello, my name is Elfrida. I live in the UK, and as you can see, I'm a digital business owner.
Yes, we are all proud digital business owner, and we are all professionals as well. So this is our plan B. This is our side hustle. So if you haven't got a side hustle, you're thinking of having a side hustle, we are the people that you are looking for. And that's why today we want to tell you or want to discuss why you think you need to watch the webinar. As the word goes, it says webinar. What is a webinar? It's just an information session where experts, people who have been in a particular industry for long, come and tell us what to expect in that particular industry. So it's sort of we've got a lot of experts who come and give you that information. It's sort of information gathering for you to make an informed decision. So a few of my moms here will just say how they felt about the webinar and what they thought the webinar did for them as individual moms, also trying to go into the online space in the beginning. Who would want to jump on and just say something about why they think that you should watch the webinar? Because we've all watched the webinar and we have our reasons why we sort of, so we'll share with you.
I will. Yeah. I'm just sitting there right now and thinking backwards. 2 years ago, probably, when I watched that webinar. I would just like to explain a bit how I got to that webinar. First of all, I saw an ad on Facebook, and I was curious because the person who threw that ad out there is a colleague. So I was just curious what he was doing, because I've been working with this guy for like 2, 4, 5 years, and I was like, what is he doing besides just doing social work? Because everybody is trying to look for something else by the side, and he's just not a colleague that like we pass by. He's a colleague that we chat often. So I was wondering why he's not told me anything about doing something online. So I clicked on that ad out of curiosity, and all that he said really I connected to it, because those are things that we go through daily at work, and he's also an immigrant like me. So all the things that he was saying, I just felt like he was talking to me. So I was like, should I wait and talk to this guy at work tomorrow, or should I just follow the directions that he's giving and click and watch that webinar? Because he says that there's more information in that webinar, right? I was curious. I wanted more. So I clicked on it, and it took me straight to that webinar. And I got hooked on it. I watched from the starting to the end. And, I think that if you see an ad, it's just not enough for you to make a decision, because there was more information in that webinar. And the good thing was that I didn't have to pay anything to get that information. It explained everything to me, explained what kind of industry that was, what business it was. And it made me realize that if I was actually interested in doing a business like this, it showed me how much it will cost me to go into something like this as an individual. But that webinar showed me that there was a community that I could join for a fraction of whatever I would have put in out there to be able to start to build a digital or automated business that's global. So for me, I didn't really hesitate. I went straight forward to join, because the information was enough for me to be able to not to be convinced, to really feel like I was getting myself into something that I was interested in, or I was getting into something bigger, something that I was going to benefit. So I didn't need a second person to tell me that, oh, you need to click on that link, or you need to watch to try to convince me to actually join. I joined straight away. And when I saw him the next day, he just started laughing. He said he knew that if you actually know what you want and you watch that webinar, you won't doubt.
Hesitate, yeah.
No, because I knew what I was looking for. I knew what I wanted. So I didn't doubt. So he said he knew that if that ad gets to the right person, the person is not going to doubt, but just to go straight away and join. And that's what happened to me. So
Wow.
I always said, if you don't have 30 minutes, you don't have 20 minutes, 90 minutes to spare to get free information that will actually lead you or direct you to make right decisions and to trying to build a business, then this
It's not
business
for
is
you.
probably not for you, because
Yeah.
you should be able to make your own decisions. Don't let somebody convince you to do something that you will not even understand. There should be an intention behind whatever action you take.
Yeah.
So in order to be able to take a good action, or to be able to take an action, you have to be informed. You have to be aware of what you're going into, and whether you really it aligns with your values. Whatever you're going into, that's something I really want to do. So that's a little about why
Yeah.
I always feel that somebody has to watch that webinar even before we even start to discuss anything about the business. If you can't watch that webinar, then you can't. That's not a business for you. You should be looking for something else to do.
That's amazing.
And I think watching the webinar also gives you the opportunity to be able to ask those questions that are on your mind, isn't it? Because I remember a few people watching my webinar and you could see that they haven't watched it because they kept on asking me questions, and I'll say to them, go back and watch it, because some people just want to skip through it and come straight to asking questions. And if you're someone who really wants to know, you want something so badly, you want to research more into it, you want to have the first-hand knowledge. So I think it's important for that webinar. And I think that webinar also prepares you to jot down your questions that you want to ask the person. There's one other thing Eunice said that quite she works with this gentleman. The gentleman never told her that he was doing a business, but she found him. And that's one good thing. I just wanted to add that's one good thing about this business. You are not bugging any friends or family. They are work colleagues. They chatted all right. But he didn't come to Eunice to say to Eunice that, oh, I've got a business that I'm running. And that is another good thing about this. I know I've just dived a little bit, but because of what she said, I thought I'll just bring it up to say that you don't need to be bugging friends and family. And that's
Harriet, that's because the guy was a burnout social worker.
Like you.
Yeah, I was one. So when he targeted burnout social workers, I saw his ad, So that's what we call attraction marketing, because you are looking out for people that are in your situation that you have been able to overcome, to show them that there's another life, there's somewhere,
something beyond,
something else they can do. You don't have to be in your situation forever. You are not destined to be there, So you don't need to go around telling people. You just have to target who
the
you
right
are,
people,
and the right people will come to you.
Does anyone want to add something? Yeah.
I kind of relate to what you guys also said. Similar story for me. I was watching my church service, and the video popped up, and I was watching this amazing lady, mom. She had a baby, and she was talking about how she came out from the financial institution, and she was also a retired nurse. I'm like, okay, that really relates to me, because my mom is a midwife, and also I have the IT financial background. So I'm like, okay, this mom is similar to me. What is this that she was doing that really? I said, okay, well, I'll just watch the webinar anyway. So I went and I watched the webinar. As soon as I watched that webinar, I knew deep down that this is it. Because previously, before I found this online business, before I saw the ad, I paid such a huge amount of money to another coach somewhere in New York, to be precise. Over $3,000 to just be part of the mastermind, to coach, just to watch the webinar and go through. And then I saw this one asking me watch the webinar, and as soon as I saw the $149, I just paid it. I paid that $149 because I wanted to know what it's all about. Because when you're interested in a business, you have to invest in that business. You have to also, like a unit said, bring out time, and not just time. You need to actually make up your mind that this is what you really want to do. And I was so confused because I was desperate to change my situation. And that is how I actually started. I saw it, I watched, and you know what? Like we all say, the rest was history. And that actually, I found this amazing mom. I got to know her better. And she even, like Harriet said, she popped me, have you watched the webinar? And I said, yes, I watched it and I really liked it. And then she said, okay, write down your questions and join me on the call. And I scheduled that call because a few things I've been noticing. Yes, you watch the webinar, you pay the $149, then you don't go further.
Yeah.
You don't book the call. It's like you're almost hitting that wall. Just do it. Book that call and see. Use your own initiative and know whether this is good for you. And that's what I did, and it was amazing. Amazing. I'll just let
Can I just say something in connection with what you said about the 149? You know, the funny thing is refundable within 30 days if you really don't want to go further. And that's something I didn't even think about. That was something I didn't think about. That wasn't even an issue. You know, I didn't think about it. I'm like, what do I have to lose? I will get into the community. I'll get to know more. I'll probably learn something, one or two. So if you're wondering if I should pay that 149, this is money that you always get your money back within 30 days. The community is not home for you. So that shouldn't be an issue. Yeah.
Yeah, Elfrida, do you want to go before? Yeah, do you want to go as well?
So, as you can see, the topic is why you should watch our webinar. I'll just start with a question. Like, you want to do a business. Any business you think of starting, you are likely to invest into that business.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know much about the business. Would you feel confident investing your money in that business? I don't think so, because like money is difficult enough to come by. So for you to put your money into something, you need to know what you are getting into. So this webinar is designed exactly for that, to give you information about the business. People do come to me. So I have an ad live right now, and I put my number, my business number on that ad. And I realize people click on and then they call straight away and want me to explain the business. And then I ask them a simple question, because I know there are certain questions. When you ask me those questions, I'll know straight away you have not watched the webinar.
Yeah.
When they ask those questions, I go back and say, have you been able to watch our free webinar? Because it's a free webinar. And then they'll be like, oh no, I saw your number, so I decided to call you. And then I explain to them, all right, so now you've seen I'm a real person, at least you've talked to me. Go back and watch that webinar. It's going to answer all the questions you are asking me right now. They've been answered in the webinar. And that is the purpose of the webinar, to give people information about what we are doing. It's a business model that is quite new. Most people don't really understand it. So by watching the webinar, you get more information. Even before you get to the 149 part, you would have made up your mind based on the information you've had. I know when people come in and they are excited and they are telling me things, and I know they have actually watched the webinar and they are ready to start. And I know when people come in and they are just excited because I've said something in my ad and they want to follow, but they have not watched the ad. The webinar is so important because, first of all, it will explain the business model to you at a level where a layman, anybody can understand. And then it also gives you the opportunity to listen to people who are already doing the business. All the people on the webinar are business owners in our community. And new people come on the webinar all the time. So it's not like one person who has made it in the business who is talking about her business. It is different people all the time who come on to talk about how they are running the business, how the business has helped them. So it gives you the opportunity. Some people don't pay 149 straight after watching one webinar. They wait and they watch 2-3 webinars to convince themselves that really this is not a one-man show. This is a real community and people. Because I can assure you, if you watch 2 webinars, you will not see the same person on 2 webinars. Like every week, it is a new set of people who come on to share their business journeys and how they are finding the business and everything about the business. So yeah, I think it is vital if you want to invest. As Eunice said in her comments, that if you want to get into a business and you do not have 1.5 hours to invest into researching the business, then probably the business is not for you.
No, oh yeah, carry on.
You are going to spend more than 1.5 hours to do your business. If you can't spare 1.5 hours that will change your life to research into something you want to get, this is a lifelong business, a business you can actually put in your will and hand it down to your children, and you cannot spend 1.5 hours to research before getting in, then I'm not sure you really want to do the business. So I would say the business is not for you. And also, you will be someone who probably is looking for some instant answer somewhere. This is not a magic. This is a business. So if you are eagerly looking for, maybe you are in a difficult, tight corner, you want something now, I wouldn't even want to work with you because you will put too much pressure on me. You might not follow the system and you come in expecting magic. We are real business people. We are working every day towards what we are looking for. So if you don't watch the webinar, personally, I would think you are not coachable. If I have told you, go watch the webinar and let's talk, and you are refusing to watch it, I'm sorry, I wouldn't even want to work with you. So yeah, that is for me.
I like that, you know. And it's true. You need to be able to watch that webinar. If you haven't got that time to watch that webinar, then I'm sorry, this business is not for you. There is no business that you expect to go in and just make it within a day or so. People, and it depends. People come in with an expectation, isn't it? But if you don't watch the webinar, you can't. And that's why it's very, very important, you know. And we've talked about our business being global. So on this webinars, as Elfreda said, you can watch it time and time again, and there are different people on the webinars. You can go, there are times all over the world in Africa who are part of this community. So if you want to see, you want to be sure that we are real people, that is an opportunity for you to watch those webinars, because you find someone who comes from the same country as you, who struggles the same, who has your same struggles. And for me, that's why, for me, Eunice, I joined the business because of Eunice. And Eunice, when Eunice found the business and joined it, Eunice, even though she was my friend, Eunice never told me. She asked me to watch the webinar because she wanted me to make an informed decision. She didn't want me to make my decision based on what she had told me.
I can't babysit you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't babysit. And I watched the webinar. And as Eunice said, when I watched the webinar, I watched it the first time because the first time I just rushed through. The second time I watched it and I thought, you know what? I need to give this thing a go because it answered all my questions, you know. And I think that's what people need to do. We need to, if you're interested in joining a business, you want to be successful in the business, it is an opportunity for you to know what the business is about. Do your research. As people say, do your due diligence. And this is the first start of do your due diligence, is to watch our webinar. So awesome. we don't take a lot of your time. We've spoken about the webinar and, you know, the reasons why we need to watch the webinar. It gives you a lot of knowledge. You have access to knowledge. It gives you learning opportunities. It is an opportunity for you to network, and the cost as well. There's some trainings that you go to and so expensive. You go for, a lot of people are doing online courses that are just so expensive. This is cost effective. And as Eunice says, it's refundable within 30 days. So these are some of the reasons why I would say you need to watch the webinar. Thanks so much, viewers. We will come to an end now. But if you are watching us from anywhere in the world, wherever you're watching us from the world, and you are really interested in making a change, You want a change in your life. You want something new. You are tired of your 9 to 5 job. You just want something different. This is an opportunity. Watch the webinar. That is what I would say. Watch the webinar first, because it's really, really important that you watch the webinar, and you can contact any of us when you've watched the webinar and you have questions. We'll be available to answer all your questions. Does anyone want to say anything else before we finish?
That's it.
All right, viewers, thank you very much. If you are watching us from ever, we would love you to share this message across to anyone that you think might be interested in experiencing what we are experiencing now in the online world. And we'll be happy to welcome and work with you. Thank you, everyone. God bless, and see you same time next
See you
week.
next week.
Bye now.
Bye.
See ya.